Close the door. Close the door. I'm doing my favorite tomatoes. Wrong. Give up my game in the chat to go and wee around today.
Eu sou o Davi do Três Palavrinhas. Vem comigo deixar qualquer brincadeira mais legal com a minha playlist. Só acessar e se divertir. Hi, Granola, the AI notepad that will transform your meetings. Click one button and it works in the background. No bots here. Take rough notes and What's going on? It's Poacher coming at you with another video. Alright, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button right there. We just hit that 30K number, only you can help me get to 40K. And check out our Discord server, discord.poacher.net. Anyway, let's talk about some unused content in video games. Some games contain unused graphics or data that are not accessible in a normal playthrough. The only way to discover the data is by going inside of the source code. It usually means that
Well, that's an interesting change.
at the last minute. This isn't just one or two games either. There's actually quite a few titles that contain unused information. The website The Cutting Room Floor keeps track of a lot of the unused content in video games. It doesn't surprise me that a lot of games have ideas that were scrapped, but it doesn't surprise me that so many companies left unused data in the source code. It seems like a waste, especially with the limited amount of ROM space that some consoles had. Games can contain unused data for for various reasons. Sometimes a sequel to a game will still contain data from the predecessor. Sometimes a ROM hack will still
It's going really well.
and sometimes there's no explanation whatsoever. You won't believe some of the stuff that we found in games. Let's take a look at a few examples. Number 1. In 1993, Nintendo released Super Mario All-Stars. This was a compilation of all Mario games that were on the NES, along with a Japanese exclusive Super Mario Bros. 2. The graphics have been redone, but the core gameplay feels identical, if not the same. I think it was extremely smart on Nintendo's behalf to release this game. The NES was notorious for breaking down over time, so having
I never able to create it yet. It's still really cool. It's going well.
Consider that some titles like Super Mario Bros. 3 are extremely long. Years later on the Game Boy Advance, these Mario games would be re-released as multiple changes. I do think it's lame that they released them all separately and not as one single game like they did with All Stars. Nintendo could have done it, but they were just being greedy. Looking into the source code of the game tells us a lot about the development process. A lot of leftover data from the NES games, which implies they were copied and pasted. For example, in Lost Levels, the original title screen graphics are still in the game data. In Super Mario Bros. 2, the sprites when you turn small are present from the NES version. For those who don't know, they changed the sprite in the final game to be more detailed. I always thought the small sprites looked weird in the NES game, and it's really cool they're still tucked away in All Stars. There's also some graphics and tiles that were from the NES version but scrapped in All Stars.
The Lord is actually going really well.
The NES version.
And my duck round went well and it was fair.
The original NES version.
How much is this one?
There are
Almost
also
done the
a bunch
rhubarb.
of titles and
At least you
graphics
could
that
have
are
rhubarb
from
this
NES
evening,
games
couldn't you?
but not used in All Stars. The fact that there's so much leftover data from the NES games tells us that All Stars was essentially a direct port, which is a compliment. Number 2. Sometimes the unused data inside a game will reveal prototype information. If you ask anyone what the best Sonic game is, you'll probably hear either Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Many people like the first game as much, but there's a lot of good here. There was no title out there that was quite like this one. It's a momentum based game where you're able to move fast. Sonic himself can only walk at an average speed, but the key is using your environment to move fast. Being able to roll down a hill by ducking is a cool concept, but it's not all about speed like some people think. You're also doing platforming. At times, the game can be challenging, especially if you don't have any rings. But the game can be dry compared to the others. Having 3x per zone can get repetitive and boring. You also have no way of moving fast if there's no inclines around. It's repetitive and boring, and can be dry compared to the others. Having 3x per zone can get repetitive and boring. You also have no way of moving fast if there's no inclines around. It's also the shortest Sonic game of the three. Future Sonic games would fix these problems, like decreasing the amount of acts from 3 to 2 and implementing Spin Dash, which gives you an instant speed boost. It's not that Sonic 1 is bad, it's just that the others are way better.
Just realized they did a new feature
Originally, Sonic did a victory sprite on the stage, but it was scrapped.
in this
There's
mode.
also some Spin Dash looking sprites.
It was
which
really
Sega thought
interesting.
of the idea of Spin Dash sooner than Sonic 2, but it never happened. There's also a sprite of Sonic holding his breath, which might suggest it was originally going to be his underwater sprite, but it never happened. There's a couple extra monitors in the game data that were not used. The Dr. Robotnik monitor, while it was used in Sonic 2 and 3, it was never used in the first one. The most surprising monitor is the goggles one. It's believed that this would have provided Sonic the ability to breathe underwater, but a developer of the game claimed it was just to warn you about upcoming danger and wasn't meant to do anything. I'm not sure if I believe this though, because there are unused sprites of Sonic wearing goggles. Why would they make these sprites if the monitor was not meant to do anything? Makes sense. There's also unused objects for specific levels. In Green Hill Zone, there's a wrecking ball you were supposed to be able to ride, but it was never put in the game. In Marble Zone, there is a sideways chandelier that was also never used. In early 2021, a prototype of Sonic way. If you're into these types of games, I think you'll enjoy this, but I don't find this interesting. But there's something inside the game that I did find very interesting. I was shocked to learn about this. Someone secretly added an episode of South Park in the game without anyone's knowledge. Yeah, I'm dead serious. More specifically, it was the Spirit of Christmas short film that became a pilot for South Park. This was obviously not authorized, and EA would recall all copies of this game a few months after release. They would re-release the game shortly after, so only about 10,000 copies contained the episode. It's wild to think that the developers snuck an episode of South Park into a random game. My question is why? What does South Park have to do with Tiger Woods? And why waste all that space on the disc? It's not like this is game data that was scrapped. This is a video that the developers put in for seemingly no reason. So, that's my list. Did any of these surprise you? And are there any games I didn't mention? Maybe I'll do a part 2. Thanks for watching.
Dude, how is the game? Oops.
I want to thank you so much for watching.
Banana.
This far, hit that like button. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the subscribe button for more content. Both of these things really help the channel grow. If you have anything to share, feel free to leave a comment. I read every single comment on this channel, and I'm pretty good at replying back. Anyway, have a good one.
电梯室门口啊，然后我在反应器，然后4号这边就下来了。鸡腿在电梯室门口，我怀疑这个4号他从电梯室那边下来。我在这个医疗室，然后他也没啥信息，但是听到了一个炸弹声。
Which game are you playing? Okay.
刚听过。
I do find I don't go enter yes. If you do it, we actually give us a new feature.
看到10号的，
Which game is the new feature?
还有8号还是4号，也在管道站里。如果我试用的话，但是什么？
Goose.
然后我也听到了有的说
which means you can't trap enemies. The Famicom version is more advanced than the ones before it. The levels are all large and scroll horizontally, while the computer versions are just a single screen. You can also create your own levels. Such a nice feature, and I used to spend hours using this mode. Unfortunately, I can't play on a single screen here. This game is inspired by Space Panic, where you're essentially doing the same thing, but the controls were greatly improved. You're able to dig holes in either direction, regardless of where your character is facing. For example, you can dig on the left side while retreating to the right. This is super handy when you have enemies that are on your tail. The level design can be truly at times. For example, instead if you drop to the lower button, you're stuck here forever. Thankfully, you can press select and review the stage. Like with Nuts and Milk, in this game, so you get a lot of content. In a surprising twist, Roadrunner will receive an arcade version that was based off the computer game. You usually hear about arcade titles being ported over to home consoles or computers, not the other way around. Hudson also released Championship Load Runner, which has some noticeable improvements. The system now moves both horizontally and vertically, and you can dig holes much faster than this game. This installment is meant to be much harder, and you'd be surprised if you sent Hudson proof that you beat the game. But they went too overboard, in my opinion. The design is way more complex, where if an enemy falls in the wrong place, you have to start the level over again. This feels more like a Kaizo ROM hack than an official release. They also took away the ability to create your own levels, which was one of the best aspects of the previous. Fortunate to have a second company join that would go straight to the community. Namco first published game of the Famicom was Galactic 84. It's a shooter where you must defeat all the enemies to the next stage. On the exploration of Space Invaders, the enemies here move down and they leave their formation to try to attack you. The arcade game was first graphics. It also had a nice looking background. The version is surprisingly faithful to the arcade one. It still has the scrolling background, and the graphics look near exact. This is also one of the smallest games. 16 This is very impressive, especially when you consider how difficult it was for 2 kilobytes.
旁边是
我旁边是我老公，那你还愿意跟我在一起吗？
我愿意跟我在一起。
可是我老公在我旁边。我在打
老公在你
怎么真的有男人的声音？没有男人的声音啊，没有男人的声音啊。
That's so funny. I really freaking angry. I farted.
有机会。
给我吃呗。哎呀，被抢！
What do you think of people doing that?
过去这么多人，是什么？
Oh, that's funny.
多人啊，你们是什么身份啊？
饭。谁他妈杀你？有病！
是什么？
观察。
You making lots of money, Joseph? Yeah.
You see quite a lot. So as you come out of the University Park above the bridge, there was a store with birds. I'll show you this. They look very prehistoric birds. They're not just really, really still. And they're very quite rare, even, in this country. It's quite, you think, oh wow, that's a store. And stuff, so that's why it was there. And then a bit further along, you see the cow and the geese. And the geese had their babies gobbling, so that was nice. And then as you come in towards your master, there's a deer in the field there, so deer as well. If you want to walk in town, basically, you see quite a lot of different animals and things. So, yeah, this time of year, it's nice to be out. Yeah, before you think, yeah, lose the stone in water if I didn't walk. Yeah, no, I just really hope it doesn't get to that extent. Yeah, because that was just,
Yeah, that
sometimes.
it's it's crazy one back.
So he's just taking his A level and hopefully going to uni. But she said he was just really cool about it. He had bouncy castles and an ice cream van at school to celebrate. And he was really cool about it. And she was husband went, oh, this is such a big thing, leaving school. He's like, yeah, whatever, mum. Yes. Feeling. Yeah.
Banana.
But into a banana one day. At least that's a normal thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Very healthy, very well having banana instead of fruit. Wow. Mm-hmm. I think they quite like their puddings, but like us, try not to have them unless, Yeah, the car's not there, so
That's so funny. Yeah.
Oh, well done, lovely. Um,
I farted. And look at it. Not if you are a minute.
oh, yes, we're running a bit low, Chris. Unless you fancy some Chris, can we share some of the ones from the big packet?
You're round. Dead. Okay, that's a good way around. That's enough of that.
What are we going to do now, Eddie?
Yeah. Probably before I do. I farted.
Again, there's something that you ate. Must be the crumble. Dog.
So that's good. And I got 16 pounds. Hey. And enough. You're gonna never know pirate. And all my matches friends are out. Okay.
Oh, really? It's amazing, isn't it? About that meeting you were looking at the prior. Yeah, Chris with Sarah and David. We must have had two packets. Mm.
of those slips, and of it used to eat them, but
I'm guessing they didn't have Christopher at home, they're both, I think they're obsessed about their food. He's decided when he's out, he can enjoy. That's nice of you.
I farted. I'm gonna do that. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna install some Mac games.
Because Quentin objects are also very tiny, which makes it hard to decipher where everything is. The game is this is one of the first
Really nice. Come out. I'm out of the fork at the Ashman room, and I'm meeting the Bobbit for a meal. And it's only about an hour, so it won't be worth me coming home.
creative, experimental, and full of in a way you just don't see anymore. But the setup can sometimes be the hard. Great resolution, color settings, and managing CDs or disc images. But it can also slow things down.
Well, it's quite nice to, because I so rarely go into film. It's the new Lego shop.
This isn't a corporate product. It's early software built by a single developer. It feels like the first major release, but it's also packed with thoughtful ideas, some of which already work quite well, and others that seem like they could be pretty good in the future. At its core, GameBox Classic is a game launcher and manager for classic Mac OS, built specifically with PowerPC Macs in mind. Instead of bouncing between folders, disk images, and control panels, the idea here is to give you one central place where all your games live. And we're launching this feels closer to turning on a console than booting up a 30-year-old computer. The main feature is a central game library. You add your games once, and from that point on, they're all right there in a single list. GameBox also supports virtual CDs and disk images, letting you associate less liable than booting up a 30-year-old computer. The main feature is a central game library. You add your games once, and from that point on, they're all right there in a single list. Virtual CDs and disk images, letting you associate images with specific games, so you don't have to manually search. Resolutions when a game starts, and switch them back when you quit. They also switch playtime in the background, which is an important modern touch you don't normally see on classic Mac software. The best way to think about GameBox Classic is as a console-style front-end classic Mac game. It's trying to smooth over all the rules. Adding games can be done in two different ways. You can select an individual game application and add it directly to your library. Or you can point GameBox at an entire folder and let it add every application inside. That second option is especially handy if you already have a dedicated game. That's how we did it back in the day. Just one big folder. Virtual CDs take a bit more effort. You do need to manually assign different games. On the setup works, the payoff is real. From that point on, watching a game is genuinely a one-click process. No mounting images, no extra steps, no bouncing around the fighter. My overall impression after setting everything up is that Game Pass Classic is definitely better. It feels earned, like a solid foundation after doing the show.
Which is why I'm doing Twilight. Okay.
The game we're going to be making is first-person shooter. Generate 3 different first of all, we imported our code again. All we have to do is go ahead and click yes. Alright, so as you can see here, we have and this is pretty good. As you can see, download this.
Repack. I got my favorite mouse are the arcade mouse. Dead.
Organize your library. That said, it took me a while to figure out where that is hiding in the bin. So it's not immediate obvious. Once you know it's there, though, it's a really nice addition. Taken together, this is where Game Box Classic really starts to make sense. Once everything is configured, Immediately download and try it out for yourself. That feels very intentional. Like the goal here is not to organize games, but to active. Classic Mac gaming is something I genuinely love. The games are weird, creative, mental, and full of personality and sometimes be the hardest. Screen resolutions, color settings, and managing CDs or disc images. It's part of the charm, but it can also slow things down. Immediately interesting to me. Brand new game launcher. All that setup work and wrap it into one clean place where your games just launch. Before going any further, expectations matter. This isn't a polished corporate product. It's early software built by a single developer, and it definitely feels like a first major release. But it's also packed with thoughtful ideas and others that could be pretty good in the future. At its core, GameBox Classic is a game launcher and manager for classic Mac OS, built specifically with PowerPC Macs in mind. Instead of bouncing between folders, disk images, and control panels, the idea is for all your games later. Never launching them feels closer to turning on a console than booting up a 30-year-old computer. The main feature is a central game library. You add your games once, and from that point on, they're all right there in a single list. GameBox also supports virtual CD and disk images, letting you associate images with specific games. Images each time you want to play. Once that setup is done, launching a game is essentially one click. On top of that, the app can automatically
Oh, excuse me.
time in the background, which is a fun modern touch you don't normally see on classic Mac software. And behind the scenes, uses non-script to tie all of this together and reduces the manual setup. The best way to think about GameBox Classic is that it's console real application. Honestly, that's not a bad thing with classic Mac. Adding games can be done. Application and directions from library. GameBox and an entire folder and let it have every application inside. That second option is especially handy if you already have a dedicated every application inside. Or you can point GameBox at an entire folder and let it have every application inside. That second option is especially handy if you already have a dedicated games folder. All your games will be stored. That's how we did back in the day. We just had big games. So it can feel a little tedious at first. Launching a game is genuinely a one-click process. No browsing images, no extra steps, no bouncing around the fire. My overall impression after setting everything up is that GameBox Classic is definitely bare bones, but it's functional. Nothing felt outright. Instead, it feels true, like a solid foundation that's doing the job. It hasn't been fully polished yet. Like when you can create custom genres, it took me a while hiding in the venue, so it's not immediately obvious. Once you know it's there, though, it's a really nice addition. Taken together, this is where GameBox Classic really starts to make sense. Enough breaks to use it. Like this. One thing I honestly wasn't expecting was quality in a way you just don't see anymore. But the setup can sometimes be the hardest part. Screen resolutions, color settings, and managing CDs or disc images. It's part of the charm. It can also slow things down. That's what makes GameBox Classic immediately interesting to me. This is a brand new game launcher designed specifically for classic Mac OS. Think Mac OS 8.5 through OS 9. The goal here is simple but ambitious. Take all that friction, all that setup work, and wrap it into one clean place where your games just launch. Before going any further, expectations matter. This isn't a polished corporate product. It's early software built by a single developer, and it definitely feels like a first major release. But it's also packed with thoughtful ideas, some of which already work quite well, and others that seem like they could be pretty good in the future. At its core, GameBox Classic is a game launcher and manager for classic Mac OS, built specifically with PowerPC Macs in mind. Instead of bouncing between folders of disk images and control panels, the idea here is to give you one central place where all your games live. If we're launching this feels closer to turning on a console than booting up a 30-year-old computer. The main feature is a central game library. You add your games once, and from that point on, they're all right there in a single list. GameBox also supports virtual CDs and disk images, letting you associate images with specific games so you don't have to manually insert CDs or manually mount images each time you want to play. Once that setup is done, launching a game is essentially one click. On top of that, the app can automatically switch. Launching a game is essentially one click.
Ellen, that's
On
one.
top of
Let's
that,
speak.
the app can automatically switch. Launching a game is essentially one click. On top of that, the app can automatically switch screen resolutions when a game starts, then switch them back when you quit. It also tracks playtime in the background, which is a fun, modern touch you don't normally see on classic Mac software. And behind the scenes,
Oh, did you want to go to the toilet?
Okay.
Barted.
Oh, Takora, I want to get a guest mask for Takora at this rate.
You're grounded for 10 seconds.
Oh, 10 seconds isn't too bad. I can cope with that.
And do 50 years.
Someone who's got 50 years in her, laddie.
That's it. You're grounded for 5 years.
You might be like David Attenborough.
It's not funny. The Goose is dead.
Is that what you put on the video? The one you made today?
I haven't finished it. They're funny. But my favorite is crying. It's
The Monday morning when I'm at the dentist, so that will be what academics talk about.
everybody's angry. My favorite is doing pupils. Dead. What if eh? You're so funny. You're getting old.
Videos. Nicole will be pushing all three of us.
That's a kiss. That's a kiss. And the kids will cry. Dead. Ừ. It's dead. Có.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well then, ready? See you in the morning, ready for Eleanor.
Ok, mình sẽ chuẩn bị quá.
What? See you
Oh, see you
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Oh, you probably wake up, yeah, with some creaking joints. Yeah. Yeah, once you start, then no choice. You have to.
That's right. I'll go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I could compose a song in the style of Michael Jackson for you.
Yes. It might break the machine. Might break the whole internet.
Oops. It doesn't involve PayPal.
Oh, yeah.
Now gonna add some more on Mac. The one that has some old Max games since that works really well.
Mm. You want the Raspberry Pi?
It turned out to be a good project yesterday. 1 minute it looked like it wasn't going to work, and next minute you were cracking on with all sorts of games and configurations. Do you have any games you want to try? Oh, you can move them around on the memory stick now, can't you?
Right.
Don't, and you can even presumably mount them from the memory stick. No need, there's a shared. If you've got some ISOs you're popping over or things like that, you can basically mount them across. Or plus the fact you've now discovered that you can. Oh, they do need to be ISO files, don't they? I think that's what we discovered. That
Yeah, do need as helping to buy a game bar.
Yeah, we tried the image ones and the disk ones. They didn't seem to work, did they?
The image does work.
Anyway, you've got a route if you're interested in just trying different games. Games. Right. Would you like some more tea?
Oh yeah. Because they know the cartoon of that guy wearing some magic boots. Mm-hmm.
Can I talk to the kids? And the kids will do this. latest contact more on another around we are using the same USB they come to 64 USB because on there it's now today.